In previous videos, I've talked about microservices architecture, and here I'm going to talk about how to move from a traditional monolithic retail model to a modern agile retail model. I am the Wizard of Pause. So the challenge is, how do you turn something that looks like this retail model with all of the applications, into services, something that looks like this, so you can start plugging and playing different services in without impacting other applications. So turning your entire retail establishment into a microservices model is an enormous effort, if not impossible. So what you have to do is focus your effort on the things that make sense. So let's start with your strategy. So in this case, we're going to look at improving profitability strategies and more focus on increasing yield. So now that we know the strategy, we'll identify the value streams that are associated with that strategy. In this case, we're going to have the sale item, the return items, and the customer. And we're going to focus on the sell items value stream. To make this work properly, you need to have a model of your current business processes. Unfortunately, most retailers don't have a place to start with this, and these are very time-consuming to create. But in our example, we're going to work on the manage the sale process. So we're going to drill down into a sales transaction business process example. As you can see here, it's got all of the various swim lanes, it's got all of the processes involved. The green are devices that interact with the model, messages that are transferred from place to place, and data storage that has to occur. There's a lot that happens in just selling an item. So now we know the processes that are being performed. We need to drill down and make sure we know what all the interfaces are. And so we have to find out where this application fits in the business. Because in fixing one thing and turning one thing into a services, we don't want to mess up anything else. So now we know the processes that are involved, and we know all of the interfaces to our systems. We now need to know who uses this information and what do they do with it. So we start looking at the business functions. And again, we're looking at the selling functions. So let's drill down into the selling business function. And in it, we see we have a selling function. And for this example, we want to know who is processing the sale. These are the people who execute the value stream, and we must make sure we don't interrupt or forget their work. At this point, we know the processes, we know the interfaces, we know the people that are involved, and now we need to understand what information do we need to support this value stream. We now have a good handle on what we're trying to do. So this is where the fun starts. You get to use your imagination. You want to focus on critical processes. You want to identify reusable components, i.e. components that use or provide the same information and or process. And finally, you want to build the services themselves. Now, typically this is done by the vendors for their application. However, the reusable components may be used by other application. The challenge is to reuse these shareable components, and this will require coordination between your vendors, and that gets complicated. So I've used the term microservice, and microservice is really a very bad name because it implies that everything is very, very small. But in reality, the service is simply the proper size to manage. Microservices, also known as the Agile model, simply separates the service, the producer and consumer code, from the infrastructure connecting model. It defines a standard interface that allows other services to use its capability, and it sets it in a container that is used to locate and control connection to at the infrastructure level. This separates the service from the infrastructure, and it allows the service to be located anywhere in the cloud. In addition, it allows the service code to be dynamically changed without worrying about the underlying connection code. To help build this microservice model, I've created the IVRA model for Interactive Virtual Unified Retail Model. The IVRA model has three pieces to it. First, it models the application in the store and their integration. Second, it models the business processes. And third, it connects all that, the applications to the processes, to the information, to the people. This unique model forms a template for you to model your store processes and applications. You can identify critical components and make sure you are covering all aspects of your world when creating these microservices. Contact me to help you with your retail microservices strategy. I am the Wizard of Pause. Let my team significantly improve getting your online sales safely out the door with these microservices. I am Richard Halter at richard.halter@cox.net. Thank you.